as someone who's always liked Douglas and known him for a while, my first instinct was, wow, he just destroyed his career. Like, he's done.
I don't think Douglas Murray destroyed his career. I think he destroyed his reputation.
Sam Harris is a meditation app. I didn't even know that. So by day, he's a meditation guru, and by night, he's encouraging like carpet bombing of children. I mean, I spent my whole life in cable news. It, obviously is in terminal decline. I had all kinds of views that I argued for passionately that were totally wrong. I admitted it. I gained perspective and humility in admitting it.
Ben Shapiro built a career opposing identity politics as a proud Zionist.
Tucker Carlson and libertarian comedian Dave Smith woke up this morning, or that morning of the podcast, put their clothes on, and they chose violence. They decided to throw so many right-wingers and Sam Harris, who's not necessarily a right-winger, but a staunch Israel supporter, under the bus. Under the bus. That's all you heard throughout this whole podcast episode. And you wanna know something? I welcome it. I will allow it. It was amazing. Now look, there's this rift within the right wing of this country. And that rift really has to do with the old school neoconservative Republican flavor, right? The Bush era Republican types who probably hold their noses and say supportive things about Trump, even though they absolutely despise him. And then there's the anti-neocon, anti-war, version of the Republican Party, or it's within the Republican base. And I think it's best represented by some of the comments that you're gonna hear from Dave Smith, who does call himself a right winger, and Tucker Carlson. So at the center of this conflict within the Republican Party is the notion that the United States should go to war with Iran on behalf of Israel. And I'm very happy to see that there is a sizable portion of the Republican electorate that does not want to do that. They're speaking out against it. And there are some figures within the Trump administration who clearly hold that same position and have had some sway over Trump in avoiding a war with Iran. And I'm very happy to hear that. Now, we covered a little bit of what Dave and Tucker had to say about Douglas Murray. That happened yesterday. We don't need to go back to that. But it's also clear that they're not fans of Sam Harris either.
This is from a guy called Sam Harris?
I'm loosely familiar.
Sam Harris, wow, he doesn't care for you at all, or it looks like me either, but whatever, I'll ignore the stuff about me. I'm not even exactly sure who Sam Harris is, but a sad atheist guy. Sam Harris is a meditation app. I didn't even know that. So by day, he's a meditation guru, and by night, he's encouraging like carpet bombing of children.
I mean, when he's right, and Tucker Carlson was right. I mean, Sam Harris, after that disastrous Douglas Murray debacle on Rogan, decided, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna defend my buddy, Douglas Murray. Mostly because I agree with Douglas Murray in going after anyone who's critical of the Israeli government, because of course Israel has to absolutely destroy the Gaza Strip, indiscriminately kill Palestinian civilians, bomb every hospital, bomb every refugee camp, steal more land in the West Bank. I mean, they're Muslims, am I right? They're super dangerous. That's Sam Harris for you. So like, spare me your meditation app. It should be the case that any public figure who openly and brazenly cheerleads the slaughter of innocent people should just be like banned from public life. Shouldn't be someone who's supported through a business or a show or whatever. I mean, put it in any other context. I remember when there were a few disgusting individuals online celebrating what happened to innocent Israeli civilians on October 7th. Those people were rightly called out. But then you turn around and you look at the conduct of the Israeli government and the IDF, Sam Harris openly cheerleading it. And for once, people like Harris are getting called out by the likes of Tucker Carlson, which I never thought I'd see. So I will allow it. I enjoy it. Not the bombing, not the killing, but the fact that finally, for the first time in my adult life, I'm witnessing people on the right who are like, this seems this seems immoral, doesn't it? All right, so that's Sam Harris under the bus. Let's move on. So Tucker Carlson apparently also had a falling out with a neoconservative who I have loathed since I was in high school. His name's Bill Kristol. I remember being in high school English class. We were reading The Glass Menagerie. I don't know why I remember that so vividly. It was like one of the situations where all the students read The Glass Menagerie, or read out loud, like sections of that play. I thought it was boring, so I was reading the New York Times, and at that moment, I was reading a quote from Bill Kristol urging the US to engage in a preemptive war in Iraq. And it made me really angry. So I was delighted to hear what Tucker Carlson had to say about Bill Kristol on his podcast. Let's watch.
I remember Bill Kristol, who I worked for years and really liked and was grateful to, and he was a great boss in the 90s, and came out against me and called me a Nazi and all this stuff, like without calling me. One of the criticisms against me, I'll never forget it, when I realized this phenomenon was real, was when he accused me of advocating, and I'm quoting, for an ethno-state. Now, I have a lot of flaws. They're all on display. I've never wanted an ethno-state. And it's like, wait, one of us is for an ethno-state, and it's not me.
True. Ethno-state bad. Except for that one ethno-state in the Middle East. Yeah. Finally, Ben Shapiro and allegations of his feelings overcoming facts came up during this exchange between Dave Smith and Tucker Carlson. Take a look.
Ben Shapiro built a career opposing identity politics as a proud Zionist.
Or how about the only question that matters is whether or not something is true?
Yeah.
And another way to put it, a phrase that I've coined and made copyright, is facts don't care about your feelings.
That's a good one.
You like that?
Someone should really run with that.
I like that.
That's a good.
You could get a long way. You could get like a special deal with Facebook on the basis of that. But I actually agree. I agree with that.
If you accuse Ben Shapiro of having dual loyalty, they go, "Oh, that's an anti-Semitic trope. That means you hate the Jews." But then he'll sit there in his own words and say, I forget his exact quote, but it was something like, "My favorite thing about the United States of America is that it protects Israel." And so you're already saying you have loyalty to both of these countries. In fact, I'm not so sure about one of the loyalties, but I'm very sure about the other one. And that is not, I'm sorry, that's not a statement against Jewish people.
He's right. That's not a statement against Jewish people. And if Ben Shapiro values Israel so much, why is he living here? Why isn't he living in Israel? That's the thing I don't understand. Right? To live in the United States, to enjoy what this country has to offer, to become tremendously successful in this country, by the way, and then turn around and advocate for American citizens to essentially have their hard-earned money taken from them by the federal government, not to provide a better healthcare system, not to provide a more robust social safety net when the economy falters, but specifically to supply a foreign country with bombs so they can continue their project of stealing land in the Middle East. That's what it is, guys. That's what it is. That is what it is. I know that this is hard to hear for some folks, especially because we've been living in a country where this type of backlash was unheard of. People were terrified to speak out. But it's a brand new era. I mean, we've opened Pandora's box at this point, and people feel like it's more important to speak out than to avoid a fake allegation of anti-Semitism. Now, earlier in the show, I shared a story about that conservative talk show host, Mark Levin, Levin, arguing that the word neoconservative or neocon is pejorative for Jew. And he was referring to critics of neoconservatives who have egged on all sorts of disastrous wars in the Middle East. Well, Tucker Carlson has been a little bit critical of Levin's foreign policy preferences. And Levin isn't happy about that, apparently. He is now speaking out against what Tucker Carlson had to say, but he didn't even say anything that big. Like, he just basically called out Levin inaccurately referring to Steve Witkoff, Trump's special envoy to the Middle East, as an anti-Semite, or implying he's an anti-Semite because he was a little bit critical of neoconservative foreign policy. Because neoconservative foreign policy means more war. Tucker Carlson doesn't want that. So he, decided to defend Steve Witkoff. Mark Levin didn't like it. And I want to give you his statement. So he says, the American people do not want the Islamo-Nazi regime in Iran to get a nuclear weapon. They don't want them to have missile technology where they can put a nuclear warhead on an intercontinental ballistic missile and hit the United States. Mark, don't pretend like you give a damn about the United States. This is not about the United States. Okay, just like with Iraq, you are not worried about American national security here. We're not stupid. The jig is up. But let me give you more of his statement. And the fact that they don't want, that doesn't make them a warmonger, a neocon, or anything else. It makes them patriotic Americans. That's number one. Number two, I am hoping you are hoping that Donald Trump figures out some kind of deal that nobody else has figured out. And I want to grab this video to show you guys during the bonus episode for our members. So this just broke, so I'm kind of reading it to you in real time. I want you to see the video of it with your own two eyes so you can get a sense of what Levin is saying here. But Levin wants war with Iran. Levin is absolutely furious that neoconservatism is something that has fallen out of favor with the American people, which is why he wants to stop being referred to as a neoconservative, even though he absolutely is a neoconservative. The final thing I'll say about this is, at a time when there seems to be unity among American voters on a topic, the disdain for neoconservative foreign policy, isn't it kind of amazing that Kamala Harris decided to campaign with Liz Cheney, one of the top neocons in the country during the 2024 election? Wasn't that dumb? Can we just call a spade now? Now that the election's over, I'm not helping Trump win. I'm just calling out what the reality was. It was stupid. There's never been any apology. There's never been any recognition of the stupid decisions made by that campaign. According to Biden, she just lost because we, the voters, are racist and sexist. Okay. Good luck on future elections, Democratic Party.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.